In this film, I'm going to show you some things that I was sharing with a few students that day. This was recent. I hadn't worked with the horse before. He was quick to crowd, quick to pull away. This exercise here, we're going to have quite a number of minutes here to analyze and dissect it so that you can see what I see, so that you can think about the smaller particles of influence that affect a horse. What we mean by what we do has to come through to him through feel. It's the only way that he learns and really remembers and understands what's expected. I back him off without moving my feet because he's been taught to crowd, and I don't want to try to solve that problem by crowding him further. You don't really fix something by trying to change it with the same thing that created it. Horses are not born crowding. They are born with curiosity, and they are born with the ability and instinct to run from things that frighten them or that they don't understand. But they're not born to crowd. That gets taught to them. So we want to be careful not to make the matter worse by hand feeding and then punishing them for being too close. I'll discourage that in anyone who's having trouble with horses that push too much or crowd into you with the shoulder and the head and the feet. Okay, I like to present a release. Now, I haven't worked with this horse before, but I understood that he came from a therapeutic riding establishment where he was packing around emotionally and mentally compromised individuals, and also some people that had physical challenges and locomotion problems of their own. So in those days, which I was told that day was 11 years ago, he was pretty tuned out, pretty dull. You couldn't move him. Now you can move him. You can move him a lot. But the same situation that prevails with a horse you can't move, which is that he doesn't understand what you want him to do with his feet, is the same situation that you see when you can't slow him or direct those fast feet very easily either. It's just the other end of the same problem. You either control the feet or you don't. I put my hand down there a second ago just to indicate that that's where my core energy was going to be. He sees my right elbow in his left eye. I want him to take that step over to his right and wait for me there. I want him not on the ground in front of me. I'm helping to support him with my right elbow. Any horse that has been used with a flag or a stick or a whip or a popper on a twirling rope for years on end or even a month will understand that the movement in your arm is representing and preceding either the visual or physical effect of the thing you have in your hand. So, given that they're not stupid, horses are pretty intelligent, they can learn how to just organize their responses off the movement in your left or right elbow that they can pick up in either eye when your feet are well enough positioned and your core energy is not interfering with the message. So we take a closer look now, and we're going to slow this down several times so that you can focus on my alignment. I'm going to show you how I align up in here. Watch carefully now. Core energy. I have my shirt tied in a knot. My belly button is right above that. That's where your core energy comes out of. Your throat, your heart, your belly button, your pelvis. That is your alignment of core energy. Watch my left foot. I stay on the inside of that left foot to release him. I don't follow him with my energy, with my look. I don't follow or block him by looking at his face. Okay, if I'm going to liven him up like this, I'm going to give him enough rope to leave with. Watch him here. Right front back, left hind forward. Position, a departure. He leaves in more of a bucking stance than anything else, but he lines out and finds that right diagonal so that he can deliver a left lead around that corner. We're going to do this slowly again, so anyone who might have missed that can see some detail. Okay, watch where I'm looking. Watch my elbow. He sees that out of his left eye. I give him enough room to leave. I walk away from him. I pull my core energy away, and when I turn to my left, I'm looking behind him. Leading rein is in my left hand. Okay, So what we want to think about is, ultimately, This is kind of a rough sketch here. We're not in any level of refinement here. In one way we are, but not in another way. I could have done better here to get on my right leg, not my left leg. My posture there called him onto the forehand and stuck him there, which was unfortunate. We take another look. I wanted to do this many times so that you can start to get the detail. Watch now. Here is where I should shift to my right leg, and that will allow him to stick his weight on the back end. I missed that. Okay, I'm not ashamed to tell you. Otherwise, if I don't tell you that I know that, you might not have the confidence to understand that your thoughts about it might be absolutely right. My right leg should be bearing the weight now, and then he can get off the forehand. Okay, watch now. Look at his decision to come in. Right here, I should shift to my right leg. That would allow the shoulders to come up and back and the weight to get into the hips so that the transition to another maneuver would be more smooth, more agile, more available. These are things that take time to notice. These are things that are worth practicing. I look away from him to motivate him. I don't look at him to motivate him, as you'll see all through these films. You look behind him, you look away from him. Guide him where you want him. Look where you don't want him. I back him off there without crowding him, as I said before, because I can't fix the problem with the behavior that created the problem. It takes time to figure out how a horse can operate without being corrected. When we set them up to succeed, there's nothing to correct, after all. So what I try to do is to focus on what I want, not on what I don't want. I don't focus on what has to be corrected or what's wrong or what needs fixing. I try to focus on the things that work and build on that. Okay? We know that he can take a foot back if you give him a minute. I want the left foot back. How slowly he does it. Okay, he's got a lot on his mind. He's got flies. He's got an audience. His friends are over there under the tree where he'd probably prefer to be. He's got flies all over the place. And he's trying to figure out whether I understand what I'm talking about. Okay? That's a simple release off the back of my hand. I'm trying to bring that right hind foot up underneath him. Now he's pretty distracted. I gave that rope a little karate chop there. I don't jerk on a horse in a conventional way, and maybe that thing you just saw me do there, maybe that's once or twice a year, if that. It's an attention getter, not a punishment. So when you start to think about correcting and punishing a horse, understand the focus is on what you don't want. So let's try to think about what is desired, the desired effect, not the thing to correct, but the thing to educate the horse about. So that's my preferred way, anyway. I want to count on his ability to use his eyesight, which he has good eyesight, to pick up the movement in my right elbow from his left eye. That will shift his shoulders, as you've seen a few times now. When we're trying to organize a foundation in a horse of any age, the important thing to remember is, how is that going to travel from the lead rope to the rein? How are these lessons going to carry to his back so that you can implement and ride, you can ride the education that you're investing on the ground? How are you going to be able to set him up for that? We're going to take a closer look again. Management of your coils is paramount. Your line of sight is important. I want to shift him to his left by looking right. Do you see how he gives me the space that I don't want him on? And he gives it to me in a big hurry. Okay? He gave it to me. I didn't really activate myself. I didn't come to life and charge him around. This is what's available. How are you going to manage that? If you can't manage it on the ground, how are you going to manage it under saddle? I look to the right. I could have dropped a coil, but it would have delivered him right in the middle of those folks. So I hang on, and I hold him. Okay. Bring the float back to me. Bring the slack back to my hand. That's a good piece there. He certainly has the power. He has the strength, and he has the skill and history of pulling away. He's trying to learn what I want as a beautiful horse. A beautiful, beautiful face. What do you want me to do? This is not may I have a treat. This is what do you want? How close should I be? Okay? Now notice when I did that, I didn't jerk on his face. I just did enough to move him backwards and get access to the shoulders. Okay? If you have access to the shoulders, it means you have access to the hips as well. You don't just have a foot or a shoulder. When you have access to the shoulder, the weight has to go somewhere. In this case, it goes up and back to the hips, and he could move backwards on a double diagonal. Clearing the ground with both feet is really what we're after. If you're working with horses that drag dirt around, or you're working with horses that are landing toe first, that would be worthy of consideration and worthy of some inquiry, okay? Because a horse is designed to clear the ground with his feet. Often human handling and the way we keep them conditions them to overload the feet and to have physical conditions that affect locomotion. It's not going to hurt you on the ground to have a horse that drags his feet around, but of course once you're on his back doing any kind of maneuver, exercise, competing, it changes the situation quite a bit. The bottom half of yourself sitting on the top half of him is quite another matter. Your safety is absolutely important. So you want to make sure that you prepare him as well as possible on the ground to understand the meaning of your rein by getting your lead rope connection solid. That management of shared space is what it's all about. And you share a lot less space when you're riding him. So these matters need to be really clear on the ground. He's responsible for you, and you're responsible for him if you set it up the way I do.